I killed the light, thinking it was some electrical feedback. But in the dark, sound changes shape. The hum wasn't mechanical. It was alive. "There's no one here but me," I said out loud. My voice sounded smaller than I meant it to. I turned the flashlight back on. The hum was closer now, behind the glass. I froze. Her painted lips were slightly open. I stumbled backward, the light shaking in my hand. No, it had to be my imagination. Paint doesn't move, wood doesn't breathe. But the hum became clearer, forming syllables that weren't English, weren't any language. But I understood them all the same, like the way you understand that fire burns. "I see you," it said. A whisper, feminine, cold. "I see you." The lights flickered, then went out completely. My flashlight sputtered and died. I couldn't move. The hum became a voice. The voice became words, and the words came from inside the glass. Then silence. Total, crushing silence. When the overheads flickered back on, I was on the floor. My keys scattered, my heart hammering. The case was unchanged. The painted lips were sealed again, like nothing had ever happened. In the morning, I told them it was a blackout. They checked the cameras. 2 minutes of static. Just gone. I still work here. People ask about that night sometimes, and I tell the clean version. Electrical malfunction, hallucination, fatigue. But sometimes, when I walk past her case, I stop. Just for a second. And I whisper, "I see you too." And in the reflection of the glass, just behind my shoulder, I swear I see a figure. Moving, silent, keeping pace with me as I walk away. I used to laugh whenever the other guards talked about her. The Egyptian woman, they called her. Half joking, half wary. The way you do when you don't want silence to feel like it's listening. You have to make noise at night, when you're the only one walking through halls older than memory itself. The night shift changes things. The museum breathes. By day, it's a place of voices, footsteps, and eyes. By night, all that's left are the things that can wait longer than people. And me, with my flashlight, my ring of keys, and coffee that always tastes faintly of metal. That night, my rounds ended in the Egyptian wing. The door opened with a sigh, and the lock clicked shut behind me. A sound like a sentence finishing itself. At the far end stood the unlucky mummy. Not a mummy, really. A painted wooden coffin lid, 3,000 years old, depicting a priestess. Brought here in the 1800s. The kind of artifact that comes with stories. Shadows moving under glass, whispers in hieroglyphs. Guards quitting without explanation. I didn't believe any of it. Until that night. The air was still, dry. I moved between glass cases, my flashlight cutting the dark into manageable pieces. When I reached her display, I paused. The painted eyes didn't look at me. They looked through me, as if seeing something much further away. That's when I heard it. A hum. Low, soft, like the vibration of a throat trying to remember a song. I stopped. The sound stopped. I walked on. It started again. When I started at the Reina Sofia, I was just a cleaner. Half-time, Summer job. Too hot for anything else. The museum was a fortress of light and glass in a city that never fully slept. Someone told me, almost casually, "You know it used to be a hospital, right?" They said it like they were talking about the weather. At night, museums are soft. By day, walls are sharp. At night, they blur, stretch, breathe. I liked that. I liked that the paintings could breathe too, when no one was watching. But the stairwells, those were different. They were old. Hospitals leave something behind in their staircases, the smell of disinfectant and waiting. The first time I heard the footsteps, it was around 4 in the morning. Slow, barely there. Not heavy enough to echo, just deliberate, measured steps. I thought it was one of the guards. "Hola," I called out softly. The sound stopped. I peeked into the stairwell, nothing but moonlight on the glass and the hum of the city outside. Then the footsteps started again, this time from above me. I climbed fast, my cleaning bucket clanging against the rail. When I reached the next floor, the sound was gone, but the air had changed. Cooler, sharper, tinged with alcohol. Not the drinking kind, the kind that burns. I asked one of the guards about it the next day. He didn't even look up. "Sometimes we hear wheels rolling down the corridors," he said. "Beds?" I asked. He nodded slowly. "Or operating tables. Depends on what you want to believe." The following night, I was mopping near a blank white wall. No painting, just silence in physical form. That's when I heard the steps again, this time below me. I froze, peered down the stairwell. A little girl stood there, barefoot on one foot, the other wearing a shoe 2 sizes too big. "Estás perdida?" I asked. "Are you lost?" She didn't answer. She just stared, not at me, but through me, like she was reading something behind me, in a language I couldn't see. I stepped closer, one stare, then another. Her outline flickered, not vanished, flickered, as if seen through heat haze. She raised her hand and pointed at my bucket. The water inside it began to ripple, small circles spreading outward, perfectly even, as if from a heartbeat that wasn't mine. Then came that smell again. Alcohol. Steel. A faint sweetness under the sting. The scent of rooms that no longer exist. When I looked back, she was gone. Only the shadow on the wall lingered for a second too long. In the morning, there were wet footprints on the steps. One bare, one in a slipper. The supervisor scrubbed them away himself, muttering about condensation. But I saw the look in his eyes. He didn't believe it either. On my last night, I had already quit by then. I lingered in the courtyard before leaving. Madrid was humming outside, warm and alive. I set down my empty bucket and listened. No footsteps, no wheels, no whispers. When I bent to pick it up, the bucket was bone dry. I was sure I'd filled it. On the step beside it, a single wet footprint, small, bare, pointed toward the wall. A wall that shouldn't lead anywhere. But somehow I knew. It led back. Back to when these halls smelled of alcohol and prayer. Back to when the building remembered what it was. And some nights, when the cleaners pass through, they still hear her. Bare feet against cold tile, climbing stairs that lead nowhere. Night at the museum feels honest. Daylight brings noise, crowds trading their gaze for stories. But at night, only the stories remain. It was my first week guarding the Hope Diamond. They called it the Hope, like a person. By my third shift, I understood why. My supervisor walked me through the procedure: air seals, sensors, display rotation. If something beeps, he said, it's either dust or history asking to be noticed. He laughed. But he didn't look at me when he said it. He looked at the stone. By 2 a.m., the building was a labyrinth of silence. My footsteps echoed like someone else's. When I reached the gem room, the Hope sat still under glass, motionless. The slow-turning display paused overnight. Its blue was deep, patient, bottomless. That's when I heard it. A pulse. Not an alarm, a deep, low vibration like a drop of water hitting the ocean. The humidity sensor flickered, up 3%, then back to normal. 3% isn't much, but it's enough to notice. I stepped closer. The air felt cooler near the glass. Not the kind of cold you measure, the kind you remember. I shone my flashlight, not on the diamond, but around it. I caught a reflection that wasn't mine. A man's shoulder, a face maybe, a ghost made of light. I turned. No one. Just rows of silent displays, bones and stones lined like soldiers of time. I turned the light off. The blue still glowed faintly, holding its own illumination. Then came another pulse. Deeper this time. Almost like a heartbeat that didn't belong in this century. And for a moment, I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. Gilded halls. Laughter. Fear wrapped in velvet. Hands, dozens of them, touching what shouldn't be touched. Wanting, owning, losing. The same feeling that built empires and destroyed them. "Sir?" I said to the air, just to test my own voice. The hum stopped. Everything leveled out. I was alone again. I didn't write it in the report. A week later, same hour, same silence. When I reached the display, the diamond was slowly turning again. A new rotation schedule, apparently. It caught the light, and for just a second I saw a fingerprint on the inside of the glass. High up. Oval. Faint. Impossible. We called the tech crew. They dusted, photographed, measured. Condensation, they said. Sure, condensation shaped like a human touch. It was gone by morning. After that, I started greeting the diamond when I walked in. Silly, maybe, but some things like to be acknowledged. One night as I finished my rounds, I whispered, "I'm watching over you." And deep in that blue, something pulsed again. Soft, low, like the sound of someone remembering your name. As I left the hall, I caught my reflection in the glass door, and behind me, for the briefest instant, another room entirely. Candlelight, velvet shadows, a crowd frozen mid-laughter, and in the center of it all, a glimmer of blue, alive, waiting. The door closed, and the museum returned to silence. The kind of silence that listens back.